Perfect. Hey, welcome back to the Helpful Home Inspector Show, coming at you live from Hartford, Wisconsin. Got a great show for you guys today. We got Mike in the studio, Mike Severson. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Awesome,
Yourself?
man. I'm doing good. Mike is one of our inspectors here at HSH, and he's been in with me for 5-6 years now, 7 years? It's been a while. 2016?
2016.
So,
yeah.
a while. Mike's been doing a lot of things outside of home inspection as well. He's also just received his general contractor license in the state of Wisconsin. He flips houses on the side. He has a VRBO down by the zoo. If you're ever looking for a little escape down by the zoo, check out his VRBO down there. It's got a sauna and all that kind of fun stuff.
It does.
Yeah, Tammy and I got to go down there and check that out. Yeah, he's got a lot going on. Plus, he's got 2 little girls at home.
That keeps me busy.
Yeah. How's the newest one doing?
She's doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She was a little bit of a crier in the beginning.
Yeah.
Settling down now?
She is. Yeah, a lot more smiling and a little bit happier.
There you
girl,
go.
So.
Excellent. And they live down in West Dallas, right by a great big park over there. So, yeah, nice place. Now, as far as the show today, if you have any questions about your home, if you have any comments, anything like that, drop it in the comments down below. Send us a note. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have to help you better maintain and take care of your home, make it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to take care of. Lots and lots of good suggestions in these brains. Let's use them, all right? Now, as far as the show last week, we did have a winner of the drone. Peter won the drone, so we're going to send Peter out the drone. Congratulations, Peter. His thing that he said was my favorite type of siding was vinyl siding. And it is true. Vinyl siding is my favorite type of siding. By far, it's the cheapest. Probably. Well, maybe not the absolute cheapest.
Pretty close.
Like you could put Tyvek on and call it siding, right? I don't know if I would, but you could. But vinyl siding, cheap. It lasts a really long time. If you get a damaged section, you can actually lift up the siding and take out the damaged piece and put a brand new one right in there with relative ease.
Oh,
just
yeah.
that little red,
super easy.
Yeah, just that little red tool. And as far as vinyl siding, it's adjustable. It wears well. The new stuff especially wears well in the UV sun. It doesn't fade like the old stuff used to. They got a nice, bigger, thicker board on it and stuff. Actually, I think I got a section here. Yeah, got a piece right there. And it's got a nice, big, thick board profile, which makes it look a lot better on the houses and stuff like that. So still being put on a lot of brand new houses and stuff, and it looks great.
Yeah.
And they even have some that has some like coloration in it built into it and stuff as well.
And there's some also that has insulation built into the back too. So not only have your wall insulation, but then you have the insulation on the siding, so it adds another layer.
Yeah, and vinyl siding, guess what? Paintable. You can paint it, and you'll get about a 10-year lifespan out of it on a paint job before you have to look at get scraping and painting and stuff like that.
Depending on who painted it.
Well, and what kind of paint you use. Yeah, absolutely. But vinyl siding, great siding material. Lasts for a long time. I mean, and there's a lot of other nice siding materials like LP Smart Side and fiber cement board and metal siding and all these. But all those other ones, they come with a lot more issues. You know, I mean, I had a fiber cement board house from 2005 earlier this week. Probably looking at a full siding replacement because it had all kinds of cracked corners, cracks, broken sections, paint peeling off and stuff, and it's super expensive to replace. You know, and LP Smart Side, it's still a wood product. It's still going to rock, deteriorate, and stuff. Require maintenance. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Metal siding dents easily. So, vinyl siding, my favorite siding material. If you're looking to reside your home, definitely give vinyl siding a shot. It's definitely got a lot of benefit, very little downside. Okay, very little downside, and it doesn't. And a lot of, but it makes your house look. No, it does not make your house look cheap. It makes it easier to maintain, easier to take care of, doesn't require as much maintenance. You can spend more time enjoying your home instead of taking care of your home, which is a theme that I like to maintain throughout this because I don't. I mean. Do I know how to do a lot of things around my house? Absolutely. Do I want to spend every Saturday doing it? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, from vinyl siding, the maintenance, like you said, that's the big one for me.
Yeah.
You know, wood siding looks great, but you got to repaint it, and keep up the maintenance and
and the woodpecker holes and everything. And just a paint job for let's say a 2,000 square foot home could be as much as putting on vinyl siding on the entire thing, and then you never have to do anything with it.
And then you have to keep up on it every 3 to 8 years, depending on who did it. And,
I mean, you're it's not just purchase of the wood and putting it on the home, but then you're looking at a $15,000 to $20,000 paint job every 5 to 8 years, depending on quality and paint and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, lots of stuff there. Thanks again for Andy for joining us last week. If you haven't checked out the show from last week, talking with Andy Builder about a lot of different things or whatever, but Andy was a great resource to bring in. We had a good conversation about things and really had a good time, but that is on YouTube. You can go ahead and watch that whenever you want. We do also have a podcast of that anywhere you get your podcast, Google Podcasts, where are the other ones? Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we can get just about anywhere. All right. Now the defect of the week we're going to get into next, and the defect of the week is something that I didn't make a short video about, but it is something that we come across almost every day, almost every day, almost every house. These guys. GFCI outlets. I don't think you guys can see that very well. But GFCI outlets, they got the two little buttons on them. You've probably seen them in your bathroom. The old ones had a red and black button on them, right? And they should be anywhere that you have a water source and electricity being used in proximity to each other, okay? And they're a safety device. Lots of times I say that we should have them there to protect children and husbands because... Of course, the wives aren't going to make that mistake, right? Okay. Yeah. What is a GFCI? A GFCI, folks, is there to protect you in the event of a electrical grounding issue. So, electrical grounding issue could be as simple as a curling iron falling into the sink, right? Okay, mom gets a brand new curling iron. It gets bumped into the sink when the little kid's going to grab their toothbrush in the morning. What's their initial reaction? I don't want to get in trouble and have a wreck mom's new curling iron. So they're going to reach into that sink full of water and they're going to try to grab that electric curling iron. Okay. If there's no GFCI protection there, guess what? Your little munchkin's getting electrocuted because they didn't want to get in trouble. Bad idea. Okay. Yeah. And even though I'm older and smart, my reaction would be if I'm dumping my wife's new blow dryer into the sink when I'm shaving or something like that, is to reach in and grab it. It's just a natural reaction. And the GFCI is going to be there because as soon as that device hits the water or could produce an electrical grounding issue, it's going to trip off and protect whoever is there and going to reach into that electrified water. So definitely a great safety device. It should be present again anywhere using water and electricity together. The general rule of thumb is
6 feet.
6 feet.
Most appliances have a 6 foot cord on them, so that's why they came up with the 6 foot rule.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, I talk to people all the time, and they're like, GFIs, they don't really like them because they trip all the time. Wife is tripping it with their curling iron, or it's in the garage and they plug too many things in and then it trips. They're very, very sensitive. It's like 4 to 5 milliamps. That's all it takes to trip those things off. So,
but I mean, what, $15?
$15 to $20, yeah.
Super.
Depending on the color and what you want, and blah.
Yeah, there's higher quality ones and stuff. But what you're looking at is protecting your family. Okay, and the most important places that you want to have these, okay, kitchens and bathrooms. Okay, kitchens and bathrooms are the most important. If you're only going to do a couple, kitchens and bathrooms are where you want to protect. And it doesn't mean that you need one on every outlet. Okay, when you go into a kitchen countertop situation, there could be 6 kitchen countertop outlets all in series with each other. Okay, if you find the one that's closest to the electrical box, okay, you can replace that one and probably protect all the rest of them downstream. Yeah. Okay, that when they are linked together, all you need is one of them in that stream, but it will only protect downstream. It won't protect upstream. So if you have at least that's my understanding of it. I'm not an electrician, but you might only have to put one in that situation in order to protect everybody in that area. But kitchens, bathrooms is most important. They all should be on, all the outlets on the outside of your house should be GFCI protected. And I would always suggest point of use instead of having them in the electrical panel. Yeah. Back in the day, they had them in the electrical panel.
It's a pain in the rear end when you got to run inside now all the way downstairs to the basement and turn it back on.
Yep, it's a pain in the butt. And there is a time gap there. The further it is away from where the shock is happening to react and turn off, there's a time reaction there. And all it takes is 1 milliamp of electricity across your heart to give you a heart attack. You know, so.
And on the back of a GFI, the way it's set up is the line side it's labeled, so that way when you hook up the power, that's where the power actually comes in, and then you can hook up the load side to it. It's actually labeled, like this one here, it says it right on the yellow tag, and that's how you'd wire them downstream and stuff. But always hire a professional if you don't feel you can do it right and do it safely.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on. So our defect of the week, GFCI outlets. Check them in your home, people. Test them. You don't have to test them once a month like the manufacturer would suggest. We talk about a 6-month maintenance cycle a lot, okay, in our home inspections. And if you do check it in the fall and you check it in the spring, usually Halloween and Easter, okay, both times where you may be taking a day off of work or whatever, you'll be good. If you just check them once every 6 months, you'll be good. All you got to do is push the test button, push the reset button. You could get a device, a tester like we have. They're not very expensive, maybe $5. And it would make it so that you're ensured that GFCI outlet is working properly. The GFCI outlets can go bad, okay? I have one that went bad up in our kitchen just the other day, and we're going to actually film that and have that as an outlet replacement video, so you can know how to replace an outlet in your home safely. But definitely something to check and test and make sure you have in the locations where you need protection. All right. Now, as far as the next thing we're going to get into, we're going to give you that one tip to help you save a buck today. Save a buck. And Mike and I are both big on this one, okay, is Focus on Energy. So Focus on Energy is a place where you can go. You can get free light bulbs. You can get free power strips. You can get discounts on thermostats. You can get discounts on water heaters and furnaces and rebates and all kinds of fun stuff. All for free. Well, I shouldn't say for free. You're paying for it already, okay? You're paying for it already, but you're not taking advantage of it. Your electric bill pays for these programs to exist. Okay, some of it comes from We Energies. Others of it comes from the national federal government, right? Okay, from the EPA and all these other types of programs that the federal government has out there. But your taxes are paying for that already, okay? And as far as your taxes paying for that already, don't feel guilty about using it. I use it. I get every time I'm eligible to get new light bulbs, guess who gets new LED light bulbs? This cat, okay? They also have some water managing devices and other things like that you can get at Focus Energy. So go to focusonenergy.com and get some free light bulbs and stuff, people. Yeah. And rebates and other things.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, they have the for like new furnaces, new water heaters, they have rebates on that, and then they also have for insulating your home, which is one of the easiest ways to save money, biggest bang for your buck as far as return goes. They have contractors on their website that you can call and get that rolling too.
There you go. And that work directly with Focus on Energy. So and lots of times when you look at working with a plumber and getting a rebate for your water heater, you have to put in the water heater, then submit for the rebate and all that kind of stuff after the fact, but you've already had to pay the money and then you get the money back in your taxes. Focus on Energy, no rebate form that you have to wait on to get money in your taxes. It's a discount automatically as soon as you get the water heater. So lots of different options out there as far as Focus on Energy goes. There's the website is, when you get to it, it looks real simple, but there is some depth there. There's a lot of different stuff that you can get into. But go to Focus on Energy, check it out, save some money, get some free stuff, and send us a note on what you got, and how long it took. Now, sometimes that is the only issue that I've had in the past is how long it takes, and sometimes they can be backed up, especially with the supply chain stuff and whatnot. It can take a little while to get them, but they're free.
Yep.
And you don't have to put a credit card in. You don't have to pay for shipping. You don't have to pay for anything. It's totally free. We actually, on the Helpful Home Inspector YouTube channel, we actually have a video about Focus on Energy and some of the things that they do offer and stuff like that. So go to check out the Helpful Home Inspector videos on YouTube and look up free stuff. I think that's the title of the video. Get free stuff. So that is our tip of the week. Go check out Focus on Energy. Now, the next thing I'm going to have is a little question from Mike, and that is, we always do a co-host question. Okay, Mike?
Yeah.
What is the most common defect that you find at home besides GFCIs?
I'm going to have to say a plastic dryer vent or plastic
foil thing.
Foil venting material that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So
these crinkle up. Actually, Tammy, I think you have one over there. Can you grab it for me in the box next to you? It's a blue box.
You got a metal one behind you there too.
No, it's in a cardboard box. That's it. Just set it right in front of the camera there. Can you see that? There you go. Yeah, they come in a little box like this, and they say fire resistant. Okay.
Yeah.
Fire resistant is not fire retardant. Okay. We want something that is fire retardant. Something that's going to put out the fire, stop the fire completely, not resist fire for a little bit before it expands through it and goes in and burns down your house. People still put them in. They're still legal. They shouldn't be. We shouldn't be selling them. We shouldn't be putting them in homes.
Yep. Usually they're the cheapest one on the shelf and the one everybody buys.
Yeah.
I know they're easy to work with, but there's also metal flexible pipe. I don't think, there's one right behind. I don't know if you can reach it. This is the one you really want. This one or the metal hard pipe, because when you push into this one, it's really strong when it's totally pushed together like this, but when you get it apart, you can actually bend it. That's what you're looking for. These ones, when you push into them, they just bounce back because it's made out of that plastic. So
it's a really crappy dryer vent. And if you go to try to clean, you're going to pierce through it, right? You're going to cut.
They get really brittle over time with the heat.
Yep, they get brittle. And people think the aluminum foil is you got aluminum foil, can't get out. No, the aluminum is flammable. People, it's just about what temperature it becomes flammable. At that point, it takes over and exacerbates any fire that may be in your home. Plus, people when they put them in, they don't cut it down at all, so they leave this
accordion going up to
6 foot hose, gangle, and it's all that's going to gather lint and stuff, which is a fire risk. So that's a good one. I didn't know what you were going to say.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It's a cheap fix. I mean, relatively cheap. I mean, you can buy the metal one that I just showed you. I mean, it's like $30 in material just for the piping and that,
and the clamps.
So yeah,
definitely.
Depending on the length of the run too. Obviously, that's gonna come into the price a little bit.
Yeah, you really don't want a long run anyways.
No.
The shorter the run, the better, because that's going to leave you more force with of air pushing your lint out of the vent on the outside. Yep. So, yeah, good suggestion, good tip. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Our main topic of the week is septic systems. And in that, we're going to talk mainly about septic tanks, okay? But there is also the municipal sewer systems as well. So there's, two options in the world as we see them. Could you get into a composting toilet? Sure. Very limited use.
Yeah.
They don't work great. You have to pour a little sawdust in and stuff like that, and they can smell. There can be all kinds of issues. So I don't know if I'd consider that a legitimate way to get rid of the septic material in your home. Okay, the stuff that is being produced by you and your family. So as far as the septic tank it goes, the difference between the septic tank and a municipal sewer is that we're taking the septic waste from our home, okay, our gray and black water, right, and we're putting it into a storage tank of sorts. There's 3 different kinds basically, and we'll get into that. And then we need to get rid of it at some point, the liquid portion of that. Okay, and the municipal sewer, basically a pipe from your house connects up to the municipal sewer out in the street, and then drains and goes out into the house. It goes out of the house and goes into the septic system. The municipal septic system or municipal sewer goes into a water treatment system, right? And they're going to either chemically or naturally treat the sewage, and then they're going to remove all the solids and stuff like that as well. And then they're going to discharge that either into a ground flow, or they're going to discharge, like in Milwaukee, they discharge it on Lake Michigan, you know? But it's after it's treated, so it's not like straight up poo and stuff like that, but it is still septic water or sewage water, you know. So yeah, it is what it is. The whole deep tunnel thing, you can get into that's a whole nother thing.
That's
but as far as the septic tanks go, as septic systems go, okay, there is 3 basic types. Okay, we have a leach field. Okay, there's 3 basic types of systems. We have a leach field, which is a septic tank leading out to a leach field. Okay, leach field is where the water goes away, and that's going to be flat in your backyard. You're not going to see it. Okay, we also have a mound system. A mound system is going to be basically the same thing. You have a septic tank leads out to a dispersion field, but that dispersion field is going to be a mound. Okay, because your soil didn't percolate or test out properly. All right, that mound system can be 18 grand.
Plus, depending on the size. And
a leach field is cheaper. Okay, about that 8 to 10 grand. Okay, and then the other one that you could have, is, especially if you're by a lake or a water source or anything like that, or near that, you're going to have a holding tank, and which is basically just a bucket in the ground. It doesn't go anywhere. It just holds any water that goes out of your house, whether it be from showering in the sink, in your toilet, all goes into this tank and sits there until you get it emptied. Usually those people are emptying it. Depends on how many people live in the house and how often you use it. Yeah, if you're taking long showers, it's not going to last very long. You know, there's no removal of water from it unless you get it pumped.
Yep. So it's the same thing you'd have in an RV. You know, that has one. It's literally a tank.
Yep, just a tank. And usually if you had, let's say, if you had 2 to 3 people living in the home, you'd have to get it emptied probably reasonably every 2 months.
Have you met my wife?
Well,
she takes hour-long showers.
Yeah, you'd be
hope she's not listening.
I hope she's not listening. She has 2 little girls at home to take care of. She's not listening. She might watch the after show. But yeah, if you take really long showers, that's going to, every gallon of water goes in there, and these are usually 500-gallon tanks. Is your normal size holding tank. Can you get them larger? Yes. If you get them larger than 500 gallons, you may need to have special trucks coming to do your dumping or emptying, because your average little dumper honey wagon is going to only hold that, 600 to 700 gallons. Yeah. So the reason that we have the 3 different types is because of sometimes DNR restrictions or environmental restrictions, but usually the difference between a leach bed and a mound system is your soil type. Okay. So with a leach field, it means your soil perks out properly, means that the water, what they do is they dig a hole, and they let it get filled with water, and does the water seep through the soil and go away quickly, or does it not? If it does, then your property is leaching properly, and they can do a leach field. But if it doesn't, if it just holds the water, you have too much clay in your soil, you're going to have to do a mound system where they actually put in sand and gravel and layers of stuff that is going to help you with your dispersion of that water. Okay. And the mound system is engineered basically. And the water percolates through the mound system before it gets to the regular soil. Okay. So it's partially treated, and then it goes through the regular soil. Now, as that goes down through the soil, it all gets cleaned and stuff. We'll have some images of that a little bit later. But that's the basics of septic systems and the 3 different types that we have. Now, how does a septic system work? Tammy, can you switch me over to the computer there? So with a septic system, okay, you have the inlet, okay? The inlet is on the left side of your screen there, and that inlet is going to be all that sewage water, everything that you put in the toilet, everything you put down the sink drain, everything that comes off you in your shower goes into that inlet and goes into the tank. Now, this is a 2-chambered tank. Not all septic tanks are 2-chambered. 2 chambers is better. Gets rid of the sludge better, but it comes into that inlet, goes down into that through the pipe there, and the pipe has a stack on it that's going to allow air to get in so the water can move and stuff. Now, once that water goes in there, the water has scum, sludge, and wastewater all in it at the same time. As it goes into that tank and it sits, it separates. And as it separates, okay, the sludge, the heavy solids, materials, and that kind of stuff is going to go down to the bottom, and the scum layer is going to be anything that would float, like
grease,
oil,
oil,
toilet paper, anything like, baby wipes or anything like that you put in there that's going to float to the top, and we need to have those baffles up high enough that scum's not going to cover the top of it. Okay, and if you put too much scum in, then you have a problem.
Bad things happen.
Bad things happen. Then those pipes get plugged, and then you have to have somebody come out and make an expensive repair. And then generally what happens is as it separates, then that wastewater, the water portion of that is going to move up and into the the second chamber of the septic tank. In the second chamber, you still might get a little bit of scum in there, so that's why we have that second baffle there. Still a little bit of sludge in there, not as much as the first one. And then that water then is going to move out to your drain field. Your drain field is going to be your leach field, or it's going to be your mound system. If this was a holding tank, that last outlet there would not be present. That would be what it would look like, okay? And they basically can go in there and they can empty that all out. In a holding tank, they usually don't even have two-chambered holding tanks. They're usually just one big chamber. One. Yep. But that's the basics of a mound system or of a septic tank. When we look at a septic tank, Tammy, you want to put it back to the computer? This is a septic tank here. This is what one looks like above ground. Okay, and this would be probably a two-chamber tank, I'm guessing, just based on the size of it and stuff like that. You can see your inlet T there. You have your two concrete tubes coming out that you would normally see in your backyard. Sometimes people bury them. You shouldn't bury them. I think the regulations say we have to be above soil so many inches, But that's what a septic tank would look like in the ground before it goes into the ground. And then this is kind of a picture of how that leach field would work, or how that dispersion system. So you can see here's your holding tank or your septic tank, okay? And then this goes out, and you can see the inlet pipe is higher than the outlet pipe. This goes out to your leach field, which is all underground. If this was a mound system, there'd be a hump in your backyard, But that's the basics of how that system works. And then I think I had some other good pictures here. Just a second. Let me scroll through these real quick. And so this is what a mound system would look like, how it breaks down. You can see the sand and the gravel and all that kind of stuff. It's a really engineered system. They'll be in there in your backyard with an excavator for a while, and be moving a lot of soil, bringing in a lot of materials and things like that to create this mound system. And then the pipes go through there with holes in them and allows that water to percolate through there. And then this is a picture of how the water cycle goes. Okay, so the production, which is I thought that was a funny way to put it. Yeah, that's us. That's our stuff. It goes into the septic tank. You can see the two baffle chamber here. This is a kind of a little bit of a different system than what I just showed you. And then this would be a single chamber. Looks like, essentially.
So it looks like, yeah.
Yep. And then your outlet T would come out here, and then you would go out to your dispersion field. The dispersion field then allows that water to slowly seep through the soil. Purification. Water table, come back over here, up here, you drink it. Sounds kind of gross.
It does.
But our soil and the earth Mother Earth does a great job of filtering that water out. So
just don't think about it too long.
Just don't think about it for too long, and know that distance, the greater that distance is, the more purified the water is going to be. But for that reason, it's important to test your water every once in a while. Most people don't. Okay, so take a sample of your water, take it in, get it tested, $50-$60 for a water test. Not only are you going to find out hardness and all those other types of things, but you're going to find out nitrates. The nitrates are important because that's making sure that the soil is cleaning your
yuck.
Your yuck. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Cleaning your yuck properly before it's re-entering in your system. If nitrates are too high, that's not good for us. Okay, so like when we go into a home and they're getting home inspections done, we don't test the septic system. Well, we put a lot of water.
Well, we
throw a lot of water through those pipes, but they have a separate inspection that's going to be a well and septic inspection, where they're going to take a sample of water and do a quick test and do a 3-part test where they're going to test for nitrates, E. coli, bacteria, that kind of stuff, arsenic, and nitrates is one of those because it could be an issue, Now, nitrates usually tends to be more of an issue around like farms and things like that, where we have herd animals and things like that, because they produce a lot of nitrates, but ultimately, as far as that water seeping down through there, we want to make sure that it's getting cleaned properly. So getting that test done, usually you have to get your septic tank emptied every 2 years, right? Inspected. So do it every 2 years. That's a good bar to hold. All right. So get that water tested every 2 years, just to make sure if you're on a well, okay, to make sure that it's being taken care of. If you're on municipal water, you can go to the municipality's website probably and print out their water test. They do a water test that usually it's bi-monthly or monthly, depending on the municipality.
Yeah, I think they have to send it to you yearly too. You usually I get a letter in the mail every year.
Yeah,
and I'm on city water.
Yeah, so, yeah, and they just talk about the different cleanliness and what the hardness is, all that kind of stuff they get into in that water report. But very comprehensive. But that's going to be tested regularly. When you have a well system, the only way it gets tested is by you doing it. There's no requirement from your municipality or anything like that you get your well tested. But it is a great idea, okay, to make sure your water is safe there. All right. So the next part we're going to get into with the septic systems is things that you should be doing to maintain and take care of your septic system. A septic system is very expensive. They're expensive to fix, clean, replace, all that kind of stuff, and they don't last forever. People think it's in the ground, it should last forever. No, it doesn't. It doesn't last forever. It can last for a very, very long time if you take good care of it and are conscientious about what you put down into your septic tank. But it is something that does require a little bit of forethought and learning on the part of your family to know what's appropriate to go down the drain and what's not appropriate to go down the drain. So the things that you should do, okay, is watch for leaks. If you have a leaking faucet, a leaking toilet, anything like that, you're probably putting 700 gallons of water down there annually that you're not even aware of, okay, that you're not intending to put down there. So make sure you don't have any leaking toilets, faucets, that kind of stuff, all right? The septic system is intended to use so much water, and if you put too much water down there, then it becomes an issue.
Yeah. Gets overloaded and it can't permeate through the soil like it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Or you see in the movies somebody gets a soggy backyard because the poop is overflowing.
I was in one of those.
Yeah, that's never fun. Enzymes and positive bacteria. So in a septic tank, eventually what's going to happen if you go from a dry septic tank to a now being used septic tank, it's going to build up its own bacteria in there that's going to help with the breakdown of wastes and things like that. There are some good enzymes and bacteria that you can use, okay, to help that process, but you don't want to do too much of it. If you do too much of it, now you're going to start creating yeast and other types of things that are going to cause a problem. So you want to use the right kind. What I would do is consult with your septic professional that comes out to your home to maintain and take care of your septic system and ask them what they would recommend, okay? Don't just buy what you see on TV, okay? Yeah. Commercials are intended to make money. They're not intended necessarily to help you. Sometimes they do, but not normally. It's normally all about making money, right?
Yep.
So talk to your septic professional. They're going to know your system. They're going to know what's appropriate for your system, and they'll give you some good solutions on how to better maintain and take care of that system, all right? You want to compost any waste that you would normally put down the drain. So if you would normally at the end of the day, you scrape your plates with the leftover celery, beans, carrots, steak, whatever, don't throw away any steak. But if you're scraping your plates into there, all those things that will not dissolve in a glass of water they're going to turn into sludge at the bottom of your septic tank. Okay, if you're in a septic system, don't use baby wipes, don't use flushable wipes. Just use the regular toilet paper. Easily broke down toilet paper is the best way to go. But most septic tanks can break down your regular toilet paper without too much of an issue. But if you start getting into some of these wipes and things like that, it can get clogged up screens and things. If the screen gets clogged, it could back up your whole system.
Yeah.
Okay. There's in each of those baffles that we showed you before, there's a little screen at the bottom. If that gets clogged with a wipe, it could back up your whole system into your house and start flooding your basement and stuff. So definitely something to be conscientious about what you're putting down the drain. If you cannot dissolve, if you put it into a glass of water and it doesn't dissolve in a half hour, you shouldn't be putting it down your drain. Okay. Lots of times when I see people that have mound systems or septic systems, they have a little bucket underneath the sink with a pick and save bag or a grocery store bag in there, and that's where they scrape their plates into and stuff. And then every 3 or 4 days they'll send one of the munchkins out to dump it on the compost pile out back, dump it in the garden, whatever. If you are a fisherman, okay, and you want to get some worms, get a little bucket of red worms at the store. Dump them in your compost pile or whatever, or in your compost bin, and then just keep putting your compost in there. Next thing you know, you'll have a couple thousand red worms, and they will be ripe. They'll be big, because they've been eating good. So that's one suggestion you should do. And then you should get your septic tank inspected. Is it every 2 years or 3 years? I think it's 3 years.
Depends on where you're at. Like south, like Waukesha County, it's every 2 years, and then as you go north, like Fond du Lac, it's like 3.
Yeah.
So
The state of here in the great state of Wisconsin, they will expect you to get your septic tank inspected. Now, lots of times people think inspecting means emptying. That's not true.
no.
It's not true. So getting your septic tank inspected is a lot cheaper than getting it emptied and inspected. It does not have to be emptied to be inspected. What emptying does is going to dig out it's going to take out all that sludge. It's going to take out all the solid waste and all that kind of stuff. It's going to clean it out completely so that it's got nothing but water in it. Okay. But as long as your septic system is working properly, showing no signs of leaking and stuff, that inspection takes a lot less time and it's a lot cheaper. I mean, emptying your septic tank these days probably $600 to $800 to get it emptied and inspected. Just getting it inspected, about $200 to $300, so about half the price. So our septic tank up north, we've had to have it inspected
Every 3 years we have it inspected.
Yeah, and
We get a note in the mail from
Yeah.
municipality.
Yeah, we get a little card from the municipality, and we've had ours inspected probably 3 or 4 times. And we've only had to have it emptied once, and that was because I wanted it emptied because we hadn't had it emptied in like 12 years.
Sure.
So definitely something to consider when you're looking at your septic tank, but definitely want to get that inspected every 3 years. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to get into is things not to do.
Real quick. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get it pumped out every year, you could if you want to. It's not going to hurt anything. But like you said, you went 12 years because it didn't need to be emptied. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I think it might hurt would be that the bacteria,
bacteria.
that
Yep.
takes time to build up, So, yeah, but not a bad thing to get it emptied. I mean, it just costs some money, and it keeps septic professionals employed. So
it does.
go for it. Get it emptied. I don't care. The next thing is things not to do. So one of the biggest things that I always tell people not to do, where your leach field is, where your mound system is not a place to plant trees, bushes, shrubs. It's not a place to put a post in for a volleyball net or anything like that. If you damage your leach field, you punch a hole through one of those pipes or anything like that while you're digging or putting an auger through, or you drive over it with a car or something, you crush one of those pipes, you're looking at thousands of dollars to repair this thing. Okay, if not more than that. Like it could be 10. You might have to cause full replacement, depending on what you do. If you go to start digging with an excavator to put a pool over the top of the thing, oh my gosh, I can only.
Well, like that distribution box where it goes, distributes into the leach field. If you go through that,
Yeah,
that's not
good. Then
be
all
a
those
good
pipes
day.
are going to be broken and stuff. Absolutely. So no trees, no shrubs, no pools. Don't drive over it. If you're on a septic system, you should not have a garbage disposal. Take it out of your house. You should not use it. If you are using the garbage disposal, that means you're grinding up solid waste that's going to go into your septic tank. It's going to sit there. Okay. Get rid of the garbage disposal and buy a sink screen. It's a little screen you can put at the bottom of your sink or whatever. We have them on our sinks up north, and it catches any food from rinsing off dishes and stuff. Then you grab the screen, you dump it into the compost bucket, you put the screen back in, bada boom, bada bing. Yep. No solid waste going out to your septic system.
And you can peel carrots and potatoes and stuff in your sink. Just make sure the drain stopper's in, and then throw it in the garbage or your compost bin.
Yep. You should never use a garbage disposal if you're on a septic system. No baby wipes, no flushable wipes. And then the next thing is spreading out your water usage. So in all of the areas when we're talking about water usage, laundry is something that people do a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And if you do all of your laundry in one day, you're putting a lot of water down there besides your normal showering and brushing your teeth and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Also, when you're doing laundry, you're putting chemicals into the septic system, which can cause it to freak out a little bit. So spreading that laundry duties out a little bit throughout the week or whatever is a good idea. So spread that out. Avoid using any strong chemicals like bleaches or acids and things like that. It's going to deteriorate that bacteria. Could cause yeast issues and stuff in your septic tank. Something definitely to avoid. Try using more natural cleaners like vinegar and baking soda and other types of natural cleaners that aren't going to severely deteriorate the bacteria, but also not cause other types of chemical issues in that septic, because all that stuff's going to sit there unless it's lighter than water. Well, yeah, I don't know. Some of it is the same buoyancy as water, but you still avoid using the chemicals if you're on those types of systems. The next thing I have is a list of things not to flush. The list of things not to flush. Now the list of things not to flush is baby. You don't want to flush baby wipes. You don't want to flush excess hair. You don't want to flush coffee grounds, food wrappers, disposable diapers, feminine products, kitty litter, paper towel, non-dissolving products, latex products, hazardous materials, paints, stains, curing products, paint thinners, oils. Folks, there's a big list of things you should not flush down your septic. Grease. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All of these things are things that will not dissolve in water. It's a good, if it's not going to dissolve in water, you should not put it down your septic system. It can cause damage to your septic system. It can cause it to get clogged and broken and have issues. So definitely, and even if it makes it through the septic system, gets out to your leach field, if it blocks up your leach field holes, and the water can't percolate out of your leach field, then you're going to have issues and stuff as well. So definitely something to avoid, okay? Something to avoid. We do have a question up there. The dryer vent, how often should they be replaced on average? The dryer vent, I don't know that you have to replace it if you do it right.
Yeah, if it's a hard metal pipe, you can clean them out. I know a lot of HVAC contractors will come out and clean that as a service, especially in like condos and stuff. They do it once a year.
There's those guys that drive around the purple vans that all they do is clean dryer vents.
Yeah.
The dryer vent cleaning service. And they send a little whip in there, and the whips around. It's just a little piece of plastic that blows, and then they suck all that stuff out and clean that dryer vent. And if you have a hard metal or a flexible metal one, it can be cleaned, usually recommend once a month or once every 6 months.
6 months.
Depending on how long your run is and stuff like that. If you have the hard, smooth-walled pipe, every 6 months you're going to be perfect. You have no issues there because that's going to move it out further. And you should never have any plastic ones. The plastic ones are a huge flammable issue. So plastic flexible venting like that. I mean, I don't know that I would even recommend using it on a bathroom fan.
Yeah, I mean it works. I mean, in an attic space, it should be insulated so it doesn't condensate and stuff. It works, but it tears easily.
It's dry and brittle, So I wouldn't even use it there. I would use that flexible foil and plastic one that's insulated. Would be a much better way to go when you're looking at an exhaust fan from your bathroom or something like that.
You can also use these. Just gotta make sure if it is in an attic that you insulate it.
Yeah. And don't have any bellies where you're holding water or anything like that. Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, if you see it leaking from a hole, it probably needs to get replaced. Don't just duct tape it. Duct tape shouldn't be used in your home. Wait, we're gonna be getting to duct tape here soon.
We might get. We'll see if we get to the duct tape thing. All right. And then the question always comes up when we're talking about these systems: how long do they last? Okay, a leach field generally could last 50 plus years as long as you're being conscientious about what you're putting down that septic system. If you're not being conscientious about it, you're putting all kinds of solid waste and things down there, it's not going to last very long. You're talking maybe 15, 20 years at most. But otherwise, a leach field, when well done, has good percolation and stuff. It's just going through the soil naturally and whatnot, and it really can last a really, really long time as long as you're not misusing it. Holding tanks, generally 20 to 40 years. They're made of plastic, though. I mean, as long as they don't get crushed, they should work really well for a long time to come. It's just that they have to be emptied constantly.
Yeah, some of the really old ones were steel, and some were fiberglass.
Yeah,
but
all the new ones today,
plastic.
even septic systems, septic tanks are going to be concrete or plastic.
Yep.
And those are really the two that have held up over time to all the chemicals and all that kind of stuff that we use and put down our drains and whatnot. As far as the life, it varies on how you use your septic system is the bottom line, and if you're maintaining it and taking care of it and being conscientious about how you're using it, it can last a really long time. If you're not, you can. I've been in homes where septic systems are just destroyed after less than 10 years because they were just abused. The people were putting all kinds of stuff down them and blocking up their leach field, blocking up their mound system, and next thing you know, they got an excavator in their backyard and they're getting charged 15 to 20 grand to tear it up and redo it because they destroyed it by what they're putting down the toilet. This is not like a municipal sewer system where you put whatever down there and downstream it's going to get caught in a filter and they're going to take it out before it goes into the treatment facility. This is not that kind of a situation. Even on a municipal sewer, it's not a good idea to put baby wipes and things like that in there. That's going to block up your lateral and whatnot. And then another part of the septic system that is an important part is tank alarms. Tank alarms are going to be if your tank is having a problem.
Yeah.
You know, that sludge layer is getting up too high, or there's a blockage and stuff. There's a little float in there that triggers, and you hear a buzzer going off in your basement. That's your tank alarm, and you need to get a septic professional out there to take care of that.
Don't just silence it.
Yeah, don't just you'll have a problem. When the tank alarm goes off, you probably have maybe 5 days before you're starting to have backups into your house and issues in your backyard and stuff like that.
Don't do any laundry.
Yeah, bad idea.
Get somebody out there to check it out
right away. Yeah, the septic tank also has pumps in it. It has vents, so when you go out into the backyard, when you have a septic system, you see these little pipes sticking up out of the ground. Those are vents to allow the water to flow through the pipes. If we don't have a vent, it's kind of like putting your finger on the top of the straw at McDonald's and the water stays in there, right? When you let the finger off and air can get in there, that's the vent, and we need to allow that in order for the water to be able to flow properly. And then you're going to have a lateral, and the lateral is the lateral is the piece of pipe that goes from your house out to your septic tank, but you also have other parts of piping and things like that out there. But the lateral is one thing that you can have inspected, okay? These days, as part of a lot of home inspections, we do they do offer. Well, this is like the picture. So that's the picture of a guy pumping. So they basically stick that pipe in, and they're going to pump and empty out your septic tank. But as far as the lateral goes, this is what Mike looks like when he was at an inspection, inspecting a sewer lateral. And these we inspect for not only municipal sewers, but also we can inspect for septic sewer systems as well, inspecting that pipe that goes from the house out to the municipal sewer connection, or from the house out to your septic tank, and we can make sure that pipe's in good shape. But it is something that is possibly inspected, but it does usually come at a cost. Hiring us to do it, if we're doing it as part of an inspection or doing it separately, is about $200. If you hire a plumber, they're like $300 to $400. You know, but definitely something to consider. So that is septic tanks, folks. If we did not answer any of the questions that you have about septic tanks, drop it in the comments there, or you can go to our website, thehelpfulhomeinspector.com. Or helpfulhomeinspector.com, and you can put in your questions there, and we'll make sure to answer those questions for you next week when we're going to be talking with Dustin, one of our other inspectors, and Dave from Flanders. So this week's question giveaway. Get your keyboards ready, people, to enter in the winning selections here. The question is, who invented the first septic system, conventional septic system, like we know it today? You can use Google. It's okay. But look it up. First person to put that person's name in there it is going to be the winner. And what are they winning today? Today, you're winning a $20 gift card from Menards. So $20 gift card from Menards. And if you put in the year, that the septic system was invented, I will even throw in a drain weasel. How about that? Sounds like a winning combination there. So we're talking about drains. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So drain weasel, if you put in the year, okay. If you find out the person, $20 Menards gift card. All right. Sounds like a fun deal.
Yeah.
All right. First person to put it in will be the winner. We will announce the winner at next week's show, and we'll get that stuff shipped out to you. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. The next thing we have is our mystery box battle. Now the mystery box battle is something we do every week. We have 2 boxes. Mike, you want to grab those 2 boxes over there, buddy? So we have 2 boxes of similar yet competing materials. So these are. Do you want that one? Do you want to feel them a little bit?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, you can change.
No, I'll take this one.
You'll take that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're similar materials. Okay, they could be like Bob and I did concrete and asphalt.
Okay.
Last week Andy and I did copper and PEX. Okay. So they're in the same world.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And they compete with each other. And when the people go shopping, they may not know which one to get. Okay. One is usually better than the other, depending on your application and stuff like that. But we're going to be talking about these just in general. All right. Okay. So each of us will take a minute to discuss our material. You can tell why the other person's is bad and why yours is good. But you're going to try to convince Joe Public out there, or Jane Public, why yours is a better material or product than mine is.
Okay.
All right. You ready for the reveal?
Sure.
All right. You want to show them your product first?
We got 100% silicone.
I've got caulk. regular latex paintable caulk. All right. Do you want to go first or second?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll talk about paintable latex caulk. So paintable latex caulk can be used inside your house, outside your house. It can be used in a lot of different applications. Comes in lots of different colors. It's easy to clean up. You can paint it. Okay, you can paint it. Silicone, you can't paint. You can't paint. Plus, it's super sticky, hard to clean up. It's just not very useful around the house, but a lot of people do use it where they should be using latex paintable caulk. All right, latex paintable caulk comes in big tubes. It comes in little tubes. It can be vulcanized, and it last longer on the outside of your house. It works really good. And you can buy a tube like this. It doesn't require any special tools or anything like that. You don't need a caulk gun. All you do is you slice the tip properly. You caulk around your bathtub and stuff. It's not going to leak at all. Sounds like a superior material to me, and you can get it just about anywhere. I think I saw paintable latex caulk at the grocery store, Piggly Wiggly. They got just about everything. So, yeah, I think it's better. What do you got?
Well, I think the silicone, although paintable caulk does have its application, so does the silicone. And as far as things that can cause more damage, the silicone is used where water is used, where paintable caulk is going to break down. And I think the silicone is better because of that waterproofing. You can use it on your windows and doors. It blends in. So if you have two different colored materials, it's clear, so you're not get it clear. So you're not going to be able to see it or anything. Very flexible. It doesn't shrink as much. So, and you can use this inside, outside. A lot of people actually use this. Plumbers use it on drains, like your drain stopper and stuff, or your tailpiece off your sink, rather than plumber's putty. So not only on your interior and exterior building materials.
But if you use it on the outside of your house, it's good. Stuff sticks to it.
Stuff sticks to caulk too.
Not as much.
Oh yeah, especially paintable caulk. If you paint and then caulk, everything's gonna stick to it. I've done it
until it dries.
I've done it.
Even after it dries. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But and then when
you got to paint over
it. When you get clear silicone, you can then the mold starts forming behind it. It looks like garbage.
It's the same thing with paintable caulk too.
But it's white. You can't see through it, so you can't even tell.
You can see through it when it cracks.
Yes, mine does require a little bit more maintenance occasionally, and yours has better.
They're both great
products.
materials, and they have their application.
True, they both have their application. We're not saying don't use caulk or don't use silicone, but use them appropriately. Use them where it makes sense. If you need something to stick someplace and be completely watertight, silicone might be a better choice. If you're trying to seal up cracks on the outside of your house and seams and stuff like that, caulk's probably a better choice because you can paint it. Silicone, the paint just rolls right off of it, and clear really is clear. I would never use anything clear because if you're going to see it, because you start to see what's behind it and stuff like that as well.
Sure.
So that's caulk versus sealant. All right. So if you think Mike won and sealant, the silicone is better, put in silicone. If you think Bob says cost, silicone isn't more expensive.
Isn't or is more expensive.
I mean, probably double the cost for the amount that you get. That's what I'm guessing.
Can we pretend we didn't see that question?
No, I'm not going to ignore Bob. Love you, Bob. But as far as the silicone versus caulk debate, put in if you feel silicone one. If you feel caulk one, put caulk in. We've got to know who wins this battle. All right, so put that in the comments down below there, and I would really appreciate it. Now, the next thing that we're going to get into, so mystery box battle, done. Top 5 questions you should be asking a home inspector you're thinking about hiring. Okay, so when people call us up on the phone and they start asking questions, what's their first question that should actually probably be their last question?
How much do you charge?
Exactly. That is the least important part of the whole thing, people. Yeah. Okay?
You get what you pay for sometimes. Remember that.
Exactly. A good home inspector is worth their weight in gold, people, okay? Because they're going to know what is going on at that house better than a less experienced home inspector that isn't going to do as good a job, even though that less experienced home inspector is charging less money for a reason. Because they can't get work at higher rates, okay? Because the guys that are doing it right, they can charge I mean, I heard a guy that does a good job charging $1,500 for home inspection. I would never charge $1,500 for home inspection. I think that's a little overkill. But you know, if he's worth $1,500 and somebody's willing to pay him and they get that out of him, hey, then cool. You know, but you know, paying a reasonable rate for a home inspector, and even on the little higher end of that, doesn't necessarily mean that they're great either, though. You know, I mean, there's some guys out there that are charging more than we charge, that I would never hire. You know, so there is questions that you should be asking to find out if your home inspector is a quality home inspector, so that you get the best bang for your buck when it comes to getting a home inspection done. Okay, and some of the questions that we are going to give you are simple and easy to answer questions. Some questions will be a little bit longer in answer and things like that, but all important questions. All right, Mike, what you have for one of the questions that you should ask a home inspector when you call them up on the phone to talk to them about getting hired?
How long they've been inspecting and their experience, basically.
Yeah. Talking about how long they've been inspecting and understanding where their experience comes from, you know, is important. If they've only been inspecting for a year, you can go up. You could even go online and look that up. If you know their name, you can go online and look it up to see how long they have been inspecting. That would be in Wisconsin. If they've been inspecting in other states and things like that, that would kind of not be the best way to get an answer, I guess, on that. But knowing how long they've been inspected and stuff is important. So find that, ask that question. I would always ask them, are you a full-time inspector? Are you a full-time inspector, or do you have 3 other jobs? You know, and inspection is just something you do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a plumber, an HVAC technician, an electrician, but I also do home inspections. Probably not the guy you want to hire, you know, or the guy, I work at Northwestern Mutual and I inspect houses on the weekends. So I sell stocks and bonds, but I inspect on the weekends. I don't know. I mean, you really want somebody that is a full-time home inspector, and that's their primary source of income, you know. And if they can't make it as a full-time home inspector, then you know, they may not be the best inspector for you. So ask them if they're a full-time home inspector. What do you got next, Mike?
I got what's covered in your inspection. You know, what do you inspect and what don't you inspect?
Kind of a loaded question.
It is.
It's tough for a home inspector to answer that. Okay.
Well, what I'm actually getting to is, let's say you have a in-ground pool that you want inspected. Well, that's probably a good question to ask your home inspector. Do you do pool inspections? Because I want that inspected, right? Yeah. Some inspectors do, some inspectors don't. And if you want it inspected, you got to know whether or not the home inspector is going to do it, or if you got to hire somebody else to come out and inspect the thing.
True.
You know?
True.
So.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people ask that question. Yeah, they do. And when they ask me that question, I'm like, oh, okay. So I inspect windows, faucets, flooring, furnaces,
roofs,
foundations, gutters, downspouts, grading, insulation, trusses, latches, locks, doors.
Yeah, you can go on and on.
I can go on and on. I mean, I can tell you 10,000 things that I inspect, but does that answer your question? Not really. I think one of the questions that I have might be a better way to ask that question is, what standards do you follow?
Oh, sure.
You know, I mean, there's got to be a standards of practice, an SOP, right? So as far as the standards of practice here in the state of Wisconsin lays them out as per our license. We have to follow these standards, but that's a minimum. That's a bare minimum. Okay. Here at HSH, we exceed those standards. Okay. In most areas. All right. And so, like, the state of Wisconsin does not require us to test appliances. Does HSH test appliances? Yes, in most cases. Right. If the family has their laundry still sitting in the washing machine, I don't run their washing machine. Okay. But if the washing machine's empty, I'm going to run it. I'm going to operate it. Make sure that it's working properly, especially if it's included in the transaction, you know? And when it comes to some things like, let's say the garbage disposal wiring underneath the sink is just wonky looking, you know, I may not operate the garbage disposal. But in most cases, I test and operate the garbage disposal. I usually let the garbage disposal run for a full 3 minutes with water flowing down it to make sure that it's not going to leak or have problems or back up or have any type of issues. So, I mean, I think that's a good way to go. And the standards of practice in the state of Wisconsin may be different from the state of Minnesota, or maybe different from Texas, you know. So every state has their own basic standards of practice that is associated with the license that they're providing that home inspector. Now, at HSH, we also belong to professional organizations that have their own standards of practice, which exceed, in most cases, the state of Wisconsin expectations, and they hold us to a higher standard. Okay, so here at HSH, we belong to WAHI, which is the Wisconsin Association of Home Inspectors. Great place to go. If you're looking to find out, go to Home Inspector, go to WAHI, check it out. Okay, but we also belong to ASHI, which is a national organization. Okay, and that is another good resource to go to as well when it comes to trying to find a good home inspector. Okay, you can learn a little bit about the home inspector there. Usually they have a bio page, but you can also see what standards of practice they're agreeing to follow by being a part of that professional organization. So that's a good way maybe to go about getting the answers that you're looking for as to what they inspect. The next one that I have is, can I attend the inspection? And I would encourage you highly to attend the inspection. It's a great thing. Is it a requirement? No. I had a client just the other day. They live in Florida. They've never been in the house physically. Yeah. Their realtor went through with an iPad or whatever, and they are buying this house because they're getting transferred back to Wisconsin because they're in the military, and they need a house. They need a place to live, So they had me come in and inspect the home, and then I called them that evening to go through the findings and stuff like that, and answer their questions and stuff. So it was just a different situation, but most cases you want to try to attend the inspection. With HSH, we give you an hour and a half of our full undivided attention. That's what we want you to attend the inspection for, but we want to have that first couple of hours to focus on the home. You're spending more than you probably ever spent on anything in your life, and you want our full attention on it undistracted. So that's why we do it the way that we do it. But we definitely want you to attend. When we take you through that house, you're going to get our full undivided attention. We're going to talk to you about the home, answer any questions you might have, give you more information about that place than you're probably ever going to want to know. And the nice thing is I'm not constantly jumping back and forth between inspection and talking to you. And I mean, it's just...
And along the way, we're also educating them of, hey, this is your expected life or your life expectancies of your equipment. And he's like, where are your shutoff valves and how to change your filters and how often.
Yeah, this is what you got to do to maintain it and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of education as well as we're going through the home. So you know what you have and how to maintain it and stuff. So, yeah. Do you have another one?
Well, the last one, I guess the final one would, I guess, be the cost. That would be like one of the last questions you ask them, just so you know how much, what you're expecting.
Yeah. I'd have the cost should be the absolute last question, know, and you should expect to pay $350 to $800, depending on what you're getting. Okay,
size of the home,
and that kind of stuff all plays into it. Okay, but if you're getting radon testing and a sewer scope, those cost extra. Okay, but our average inspection cost is around $400 to $425 here at HSH. Some guys might go down as low as $300. If you're getting somebody that's offering you an inspection at less than $300, I'd run the other way. Something's wrong there. Okay, they shouldn't. Nobody that is reputable and is going to do a good job in the state of Wisconsin, as far as a home inspector goes, should be working for less than $300 these days. It's just the cost of business and things like that. Quickly, some of the other questions you may want to ask is, how will you be inspecting the roof? How did you learn about construction? Do you have insurance like Arizona Emissions Insurance and general liability? Do you test and operate appliances? Can I see a sample report? What's it like? How long will the inspection take? What kind of ancillary services or extra services do you offer? All of those are great questions to ask the professional, and you want to make sure that they are professionals. So check out their website, check out who they are, check out a little bit about their history, do some work. Okay, do some work and find out about the person you're looking at hiring. Don't just call somebody on the phone because your realtor gave you their name on a list. But when it comes to the realtors, those people work with home inspectors day in and day out, and they want the best for you. They're somebody that you trusted to hire for your home search. Trust them in this and letting them help you with finding a home inspector. They'll know the bad ones and they'll know the good ones, and they'll give you some good suggestions. In most cases, I mean, 99% of them are going to give you good suggestions out there. Have we heard of some realtor out there giving a bad inspector because they don't want that stuff getting called out? Sure, but that's very rare. Most of the time, your realtors are going to give you a great recommendation. All right. Let's get into the tip of the week. So the tip of the week, when in doubt, choose low maintenance and long life. Low maintenance, long type life. This is something I talk about a lot, you guys. And let's spend time enjoying our home. Let's spend time in not having to do all this maintenance and stuff like that. That's going to take you away from your home. Can you ask? Somebody's asking. Can you ask to see one of their reports? Absolutely, yeah. Most reputable or good professional home inspectors are going to have a sample report on their website, and it's absolutely something that I would recommend asking to see. So
ours is on our website. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Go to hshpropertyinspection.com.
Yeah, our report, average report, probably 40 to 80 pages, depending on all that kind of stuff. Majority of the reason why our reports are so long is because we put so many digital pictures in. Your average home inspector puts about 10 to 15 pictures maybe at the back of the report, or they put little tiny pictures in. I don't find that very helpful.
No.
Yeah, we put 150 to 200 digital pictures in every single report. They're big, huge pictures that you can zoom in on and read.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's 3, maybe 4 on a page. That's how big the pictures are, so you can actually see what we're talking about.
Yeah, and some people say, 70-page report. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the quality of the home. It has everything to do with the quality of your inspector and how many digital pictures we take. So I think that's a huge benefit to have those kinds of pictures right and right in the report. So when I say that you have a flashing problem at your roof, I'm going to have a picture of it up close. I'm going to have a picture of it from 10 feet away, and I'm going to explain what's going on here and what needs to happen. So
then there's also schematics in the reports too.
Yeah, lots of that stuff, yeah. But when it comes to low maintenance and long life, folks, we're talking about mechanical, siding, roofing, cars, shoes, women, possibly, But ultimately, you guys, you want to spend less time taking care of and more time enjoying is where the bottom line is there. Now, as far as next week goes, we're wrapping up the show here. So when it comes to next week, we got Dustin Applenault, one of our other inspectors, coming in, and we're going to be talking about smart home technologies. Really cool topic. We're going to have Dave from Flanners and Grafton coming out and talking to us about smart homes and all that kind of stuff. And lots of great information out there about how you can make your home easier to maintain, easier to take care of, and more enjoyable, and having to spend less time worrying about the little things. All right. Also, next week for our giveaway, we're giving away a Nest thermostat.
What?
Yeah.
A Nest thermostat?
A Nest thermostat.
Oh.
Bam. Yep, you'll get a Nest thermostat next week if you tune in and answer the question of the week. So lots of good stuff going to come out next week. We're talking about NFC tags. We're talking about smart garage door openers. We're talking about a whole bunch of stuff that is kind of cool. I mean, if you're into tech, next week's going to be your show. So, and other topics, we're going to talk about poor ventilation in your attic and what can happen. We're going to ask the question, are sun tubes taking over skylights? I think they should, in my opinion. Yeah, but we're going to talk about it next week, you guys. And we hope to see you back here Saturday mornings, 9 to 10 a.m. We'd love to have you tune in and check us out. Mike, thanks for coming out today, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got a fun day hopefully planned for the rest of your weekend.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. All right. But you guys, remember, when it comes to your home, the better you maintain it, the better you take care of it, the better it's going to take care of you in the long run. All right. Have a great one. Check out some of our other videos on YouTube, but you also check us out on Facebook. The podcasts are going to be up on Monday. The replay of this show will be up on Monday as well. So if you want to view it there, you're more than welcome to. But thanks again for tuning in. Have a great one. I'm the Helpful Home Inspector, Matt Yake. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.